Hello, welcome to a very special Three of Moms Deck Connectors Club episode. I'm Erin from the Witch of Saturn, here with Jay of Iridescent Tarot and our very special guest, Afton from Afton with a Z. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And happy Halloween.
Yes,
Yeah.
happy Halloween. Oh, so this is on my face. Can you guys see? These are like little Halloween tattoos. I feel like I have to give that caveat because otherwise you're gonna be like, what is she wearing? What's happening?
I thought she went to a shaman and got a paw print like pasted on her face. So
I put them on my daughters, and like we have a Halloween party at my oldest school today, and I'm one of the homeroom moms, so the other homeroom mom is wearing them, but they are, I think, better in theory than in reality. So yeah, that's what's happening.
oh, they're cute. They're cute.
So this week we are working with Lacrimosa Tarot by Rose Bay, and this is, I think, just like perfect to be filming this on Halloween, no?
So I really enjoyed using this deck leading up to Halloween. I think this was the perfect time of year for this. Originally, I had slated this as a very wintry deck and thought it would be more deep December, January for me, but now I think it's perfect to start using around Halloween.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, this struck me. It's funny because I originally thought that this was like a very dark Descent autumnal deck. And then while using it, I was like, oh no, I see what you were talking about with it being like a dark winter vibe too. So I'm excited to continue using it, through that season and see how it shows up differently.
So we kind
Yeah,
of
I
swapped places. Yeah.
yeah, I definitely brought it in thinking that it was going to be like kind of a spooky deck for this time of year. So,
And did you find that to be true, or was it like a different vibe?
so I had texted Jay or messaged her. She messaged me a couple days ago being like, "So how's it going?" And I was like, so spoiler, I don't have this deck anymore. I literally don't have it."
In true deck connectors fashion, she got rid of it before the episode is filmed. I love it. I love everything about it.
But you had used it before.
I had gotten it a couple of months ago, hadn't used it at all, had gotten like when I first opened the box, it was funny. I was like, oh, this seems like kind of darker than I was expecting it to be. And I didn't use it. I like literally I made a bag for it, I put it on the shelf, and I didn't use it until like starting last week, like doing Deck Connectors Club. And it was really weird because as soon as I pulled it out, I got like no vibes from it. It was the weirdest thing. It went from feeling really dark to not feeling like anything.
Hmm.
So I still did
That's
like
so
the
weird.
full, yeah, I still did the full like 5 days with it.
Oh,
Actually,
nice.
that's kind of a lie. I did it kind of condensed. I did like kind of 2 days in one over a period
Yeah.
of a week. Um, but yeah, it just wasn't, I got good readings from it. It just didn't give me anything. And so I am on Lisa Pepez's Supportive Tarot Facebook group. And someone had posted in the like the trade and sell post that they were looking for it within Canada. So I was like, um, I
Hi.
have one that I think I'm gonna be letting go. Let me message you in a couple days. So I literally put it in the post like 2 days ago.
That was like me with Oak, Ash, and Thorn. I'm like, it's not even here.
Yeah.
Time we filmed
Yep.
that.
So I think
Yeah.
it's really funny because when you filmed your deck collection video, Afton, I felt like we had so many decks in common of things that we liked. And then
Mhm.
with deck connectors, when we've been connecting to the decks, I feel like we've had opposite tastes of which things stay and which things go.
You know.
Oh, that is
That's like
so
it's so
interesting.
interesting.
hmm Yeah. So that's my story. I don't even have the deck anymore, but I did get good reading. Like it was straightforward. It was like if I had kept the deck, it would have been like a very just straightforward reader, like almost like the RWS. But like yeah, I just didn't get anything from it. So, but it was still worth it to do the week, I thought. So,
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely still, I think that for me, the week with deck connectors really gives a decent amount of time to be able to kind of sort things out. I do feel like it could even be longer, like it could spend more time with the deck to really figure things out. But I do think that you kind of have an idea by the time you're done with the 5 days as to which way it's going to go, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it a keep, a rehome, or a purgatory placement?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
So,
How did you connect with it, Erin?
okay, so this week was like a little bit weird for me. I've just been in a strange headspace. Like, I don't know if I think it might be just a hormone dip or something, but I've been feeling like a little lower or just, I don't know. There's been this kind of like story going through my head about me with tarot and my validity as a reader, kind of like these like low self-esteem or something that I don't usually have. I've just been in this like little bit of a funk, let's say, a simple way to describe it. And so I think that this deck just like it caught me at that time, which was like challenging to work with because I was like not really feeling anything with my readings, not just with this deck, just kind of in general. I was just having a strange experience with that. But it was kind of a challenge then for me to the only way I can describe it is that I felt like I had to breathe into this deck. So I felt like I had to breathe into this deck. I felt like originally I was really overthinking it. Like I would pull a card and be like, well, what does this mean? What does this artwork symbolize? Like I was getting very in my head about it. And it was when I kind of would take a breath into like these dark spaces, right? Like there's just a lot of space in this deck. I feel like if it were to be an element for me, it would be space or ether, which originally I thought it was going to be more like a fiery deck or something.
Hmm.
But it reminded me of Rose Bay actually posted something about her intentions with creating this deck or kind of like where it came from. And she was talking about making a deck that was both steeped in wisdom from religious texts, but having burst free from the dogma of it. And when she
Mm,
wrote that, I was like, you know what this reminds me of, this deck? It reminds me of the feeling that I personally get when I enter a church or a religious space, a structure that is always very awe-inspiring to me, where I kind of do this like inhale of the energy there. And I'm not a
mm,
religious person. So if I were to go to church, like I would not feel that way, but I feel that way in the architecture in which people worship, right? Like there's this like beauty in a cathedral where there's just
yes.
such attention to it's a work of art, right? That you're walking into, and the fact that people are there in prayer or ceremony, that I feel that energy and I like that. I have a draw to all kinds of different religious iconography, and I always have been interested in different studies of religion, but I would not describe myself as a religious person, more deeply spiritual, even like pagan, maybe. But so the energy of like when I say I had to breathe into this deck, it was kind of like that feeling of walking into a church where there's just like something big and spacious happening, and I'm connecting with the energy, but it's not so much like a, if I was in my head about it, trying to be like, well, what does like at one point I said to Jay, like, what do you see when you look at this card? I think it was 10 of Wands. And she was like, he's got too much shit in his hands. And I was like, oh, like I was like over here like looking up the saint or whatever that was in the card. Like I was like going to a place with it at first that was not necessary. And I think that when I just more connected to the energy, it felt, as Rose Bay described in a comment to you, Jay, like gentle. Like it was
Yeah.
just more, I was expecting this deck to have more of a punch, to just be a little more confrontational, or I was expecting there to be more of an intense sensation in the reading of it that wasn't there. So I do understand what you're saying when you're like, it didn't really give me like it was a different, my expectation of it was very different from the experience of working with it. And when I kind of got stepped back from that and stepped out of my own head and just kind of let the deck like expand into the reading, I felt like, okay, I understand this energy a little bit better. Does that any of that make sense, or what do you guys think?
Yeah, totally.
I
Like for me, like I think I like tended to lean into like all the black space, and I called it, I remember in my notes, like the void. And I
Oh,
think that's
yes.
really what I couldn't get over. Like there was just nothing for me.
There's a void. There
Yeah.
is. It's like that black space. And for me, I think it was like this act of breathing into that,
Mm,
expanding into that, that was necessary in order for me to figure out how, this deck is showing up for me and how I'm working with it.
yeah.
Yeah, yep. I think that when you first look at cards that are intensely violent, like people's heads getting chopped off, or there's like a lot of kind of there is violence in this deck. And so stepping into working with it, you're like thinking that that's kind of how it's going to lean, I think. And
Yeah.
then it does. I think I had said to you, Erin, that it's gently dramatic but persistent and haunting, and I think that that's the vibe that I get from it.
Mm.
It's like it has no chill, but it's not in a mean aggressive way. It's more of like a whisper, um, but it's persistent.
Mm. I like that.
Yeah, and I was definitely kind of scared of this before deck connectors. Like I had used it a number of times, but I was still had like this little bit of frightening feeling to it. And once we did deck connectors with Mary L, and I only lasted what 1 day with that deck, I was like, okay, I'm not scared of Lacrimosa anymore. I've upgraded my scarediness to Mary L.
Like you do definitely get these kind of dramatic hints towards violence, right? Like there was a reading where I got Ten of Swords and then the Knight of Swords that you just pulled where it's like David having slain Goliath and removed his head, and I had them together and I was like, oh, this is interesting because like here's the head, here's the body, here's the head. It's just there is violence to it, but it does not come across that way.
I think that if you had a really strong art history background and knew all the backstories behind all these paintings, this deck would then increase in richness for me like 1,000-fold. I wish that I had that background knowledge. And I think with the little booklet that comes with it, you can look up all the paintings and like spend a lot of time trying to figure that out on your own. But it's just like a knowledge base that I don't have to rely on.
Yeah, and that's what I was doing or thinking that I needed to like, oh, do I have to research this painting to understand the meaning of this? And I think that comes from other curated art decks where like I'm specifically thinking about Kara Small's decks because I have Tarot of the Huntress and Tarot of Persephone's Garden, and they both come with a very, what I would say, limited guidebook, right? Like it reminds me of the Lacrimosa guidebook, only with Kara's guidebooks, it does add like a few sentences of why this was chosen, or it kind of does relate the artwork to the meaning in a way that I find to enrich my understanding of the deck. And so I felt like maybe was I missing that? Am I missing that with this? Do I need to look up the artwork to then understand the intentionality behind it? And I don't know. I think that could very well be true that having the art history background or understanding of the artwork would definitely give you a deeper understanding of the deck, but I don't think that it's necessary for this. I think that there's something about this about Lacrimosa where like the artwork is not in its full form. The pieces have been intentionally cut, removed, zoomed in on. It reminds me of like a dreamscape where you are just getting kind of flashes of images. You can't fully make sense of
Yeah.
like an entire scene. And that's why up until Deck Connectors, I had been really just using this in like that Persephone work that I'm doing where I'm using three different decks for her journey. And like this one was the one that has been representing the underworld for me, because it does seem very like if you were in a dark cave and you can only see just what's in front of you, right? Because there's so much black, or you just get a flash of light over here and there's an image, but then it fades away. Like it's not really, I think, for, in my experience, a deck that you can easily like grasp onto. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah, I remember I it presented itself in a very different way to me in terms of like I remember doing the interview spread, and the very first card that I got for like describe yourself, like having the deck describe itself was the I think it was the Ace of Hearts, so Ace of Cups, but it's that burning heart on there, and I immediately got that like, wait, I feel like this should be like Ace of Wands. But then I remember pulling Ace of Wands later in a different spread and being like, wait, this, like, what? It was almost kind of like the suits were mixed up for me a couple, like in a couple ways. So,
Ooh, that's hard to rectify too. Well, like once you have it kind of the wires crossed in your mind, it's hard to read and have it flow naturally.
yeah.
Agreed. Again, I had that with Oak, Ash, and Thorn, where I was just like, why is this cups? And I just couldn't get, like, why are squirrels cups? Like, it was just constantly in my head and I couldn't get over.
And we
Always
still
back,
talk about that to this day.
always back to the squirrels.
so,
Yeah, I could see that.
so what did you end up pairing it with, Afton?
My first day I had to do Seasons of the Witch, Samhain, Oracle. Like again, it was fine. Like it looked really nice together. That was good. And then I
Erin, do
think
you
I
have that one? Because I know you've been having trouble matching it up.
I do have that one, but it's funny. I was just thinking about this morning because I use Seasons of the Witch. I have all of them, and I use them for the particular Sabbath that we're in, that kind of, or this, the season. And I've never paired them with another deck. Like I just use it in a very specific way. It's like not even with the rest, it's in my closet. Like it has its job that it does for me there. And I've never even attempted to use it as like an oracle and pairing with a tarot, which I think, maybe I should try to do sometime, but I could definitely see how that would look great together.
yeah.
Maybe I'll try it later.
Yeah, I'm like I'm trying to even remember. See, this is like I feel like I did it so long ago now that I'm like trying to remember. I'm like looking at my notes. I'm like, wait, what even did I do with Seasons of the Witch? I was like, but again, for me, and even it even carried through, even though I wasn't really connecting necessarily with this deck. w- I've just been feeling that it's that sense of transformation, like, you know, leaning into my truth, being, completely myself in like everything that I do and, not mincing words, like really just showing people who I am. And that definitely carried through. Um, and with this, so yeah, I mean, I definitely got good readings out of it. I wasn't feeling anything,
Yeah,
which was odd. It was very strange to work with a deck like that and to not have like not feel any sort of connection to it, but yet still have it work. Like I remember when I worked with Hedge Witch Tarot about a month ago now, and it was just a very frantic energy to me, and I didn't like it. And I was like, no, you're gone. But this, I was like, I debated. Part of me was also too, I was like, because I had the edition, it was the very plain. It didn't have the major arcana titles on it either, which I found a slightly off-putting. I wish I had gotten it after she had put those titles on as an option. And that also kind of threw me, I feel like, a little bit because I had to think a little bit more. Like I know the numbers for the major arcana, but they're also in like I don't know, it's the non-Roman numeral version, right? Like I don't know, what is it, Western
Yeah.
numerals? I don't know what you'd call it.
Uh-huh.
And so that kind of threw me a little bit too. So I found myself just having to do that extra little bit of like thinking about what card I'm actually looking at, which I don't usually like to do.
Yeah, that's why I'm so vehemently against renaming. I hate renamings, and that's the reason why. I don't want that friction in my reading.
Hmm.
you don't want to have to do, it's like this extra step you have to take to make a connection that like normally would just exist and be there. You have to be like, wait, what is
Right.
Oh, it's that. You have to reroute just to get back to like square one.
Mhm.
And it doesn't add anything to the reading. Like, I don't mind doing extra steps if it's going to add something to my, like, to the outcome of the reading, but I don't want to do it just for the sake of doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I paired it with my favorite pairing for this deck was a new deck to me. It's the Cosmic Butchers Walk Through the Eternal Gardens. It's an Oracle and a Lenormand, and I didn't separate out the Lenormand. I just used it as an Oracle. But this has a very, that same black void, but then these brighter pops of colors. And I just loved the way that it looked with Lacrimosa and the way that they read together. And it was harder for me on like day two when I had to figure out what my next pairing was going to be because I really just liked this so much that I wanted to I'm like, well, I want to use that again. And what I ended up doing on day two was I pulled out this other oracle, which is the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle, which I bought this just because I love the movie Practical Magic. And I was like, oh, like I didn't really feel drawn to the tarot. I thought like, oh, let me try the oracle. And I've had kind of like, like it's okay. But I did end up really liking it with Lacrimosa. I liked the way that they looked together with this like the filigree type of um, that look. And I liked the way that this worked too. So it helped me to connect to this deck a little bit more because I was not a little on the fence about it, but now I think it's sticking around because I liked them together.
And then are you still planning to get the French mass market oracle?
I mean, look, I would love to have that French, tell me you love me. I forget it's however you say it in French. I think it's beautiful. There's so many things that I love about that. And it obviously looks fantastic with Lacrimosa, but also I'm just not, I just want someone to give me that deck. I don't want to actually have to go and buy it.
I feel that.
I
Yeah.
want to already have it. I don't want to have to like budget for it. It's around, you can get it, but it's like $70 and it's a mass market deck.
No.
So it's just it's a hard sell for me, but I do love it. And I think I have to think about it more because I do think that it would fit this kind of remember that other deck I sent you, Jay, with like all the naked female figures? It's actually one that Moonflower Moments uses like around the time that she's going to be menstruating. And I just really like the idea of that for some reason. Geez, like you don't need that deck and you don't need a period deck. You sure? Sure, why do I feel like I
Listen,
do?
I'm just perpetually trying to reel you in.
I do appreciate it. But I do think that that French mass market might fit that for me because it has the naked female forms and so many of them are tattooed, which I connect with and relate to. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. Stay tuned.
Yeah. I got you.
I also paired with my Lilith Oracle and Grimoire, which I love the functionality of this deck. I think that if you are someone who's interested in working with Lilith energy or even just the history background of Lilith, that this deck really is the guidebook's fantastic. I think it just works really well in readings. I don't love the artwork of this. It's very graphic-y. It's one of those decks that I purchased knowing that and still wanted for its practical use. And it lives up to that for me. Like, I'm like, yeah, I like having this around. I'd like to use this, but I'm always just like, meh, like, I don't know. This is just not, some of the cards I love, and then some are just not my preferred art style. I don't know. So it did work, like the color palette really worked with Lacrimosa, but it kind of I have a hard time with that sometimes because I don't love the art. It's just like a weird aesthetic thing in my brain. Like we had talked about this because you were like, I'm trying to focus on, the actual function.
Functionality.
over the aesthetic. And I'm like, I just need both, or else my brain does this thing where it's like wants it to be different, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that These Blue Bones is aesthetically really nice with Lacrimosa, but this reading that I did was probably the one reading that I kind of felt like Afton, where I was like, I pulled it and I was like, okay. It kind of like didn't give me a whole lot. But individually, like I love These Blue Bones and I've really enjoyed working with Lacrimosa. So like in theory, this should have worked really well for me. And it just was like a little bit flat.
So my experience with these blue bones, when I paired it with Discovering Beauty, it feels like if there you need something very strong and structured to pair with these blue bones, I think, because it's just so big and vast and it is like the ocean that if you put
Yeah.
something else like Lacrimosa feels very much like out in space or you're in the darkness. And I think those two vibes together just wash out
Yes.
more than
Yes.
pull in. Does that?
You're like in a room, it's a
Yeah,
dark room, you're trying to feel for the wall. Where's
yeah,
the light switch? Yeah. Yep.
totally.
Totally.
Totally. It has that same type of vastness, the void, the like ethereal type of spaciousness that I think needs to be reined in or something with pairings.
For my second pairing, I did the Bloom Oracle with Lacrimosa, and I actually pulled a When Olga Speaks card for this spread too. And this I thought like it went well. I liked all the darkness with the black borders when Olga Speaks. This with like the kind of goldy candlelight vibe, like that all worked nicely together for me.
I really like that pairing. I
The
was like,
Bloom
oh, what is
Oracle,
this oracle? Yeah, it's really, they look so good together.
Mhm.
yeah. And then for my 365 Tao reading, sometimes I get like a little bit complex in that one and like to pull like three questions and then use that to kind of guide the tarot reading, the Prairie Majesty Oracle, just to kind of guide the questions. And I thought that this worked out really well. My entry in 365 Tao was about impermanence. So I tried to pull intentional Prairie Majesty cards to kind of meet that like thread.
Interesting. See, this is one where I can see what you're talking about with the functionality and like still my brain doesn't like it feels when I look at it, I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I get you. But I feel like Prairie Majesty is better than Spirit Kittens for this.
Yeah,
Like at least you have the black borders.
that's true. I don't know. Spirit Kittens to me is just like a good question, like black and white text, like
That's true.
can go with anything if you don't flip the cards over and see the cats, which I don't like to do anyway because I'm not a cat person.
Oh my gosh, you got to look at the cute little
Cat on my
cats.
shirt. As I say that, as I talk shit.
Yeah, the second oracle that I used with it, I actually pulled out my Reclaim oracle, and I think it was the
Nice.
first time I've ever used it. And I
Wow.
yeah, and I've had it for like 2 or 3 years. I just don't do oracles. It's like the strangest thing. I just definitely prefer the tarot. But I was like, okay, like this feels like I could, pair these two together. So I did, and I think I pulled what did I pull? The Resentment card, and then I pulled the Tower card. Like, hey, so like I was getting a lot out of these decks. But it was strange in that felt like I was more invested in the Oracle deck than the Tarot deck, which never happens. So
Mhm.
that was good.
Yeah. Said, well, you know that I'm the biggest Reclaim fangirl, so I love to see that you're pulling that one out.
Yeah, I think Reclaim
Pull
is
one card.
is great.
Sometimes that's enough with Reclaim. Truly, truly.
Mhm.
No wonder you got rid of Lacrimosa after that reading. You're like, hell no.
Yeah, no, it actually brought up a lot. Um, it was kind of funny. I find like you get like these themes that the entire week of readings tends to revolve around, at least for me. And
Yeah.
when I did the deck interview on the first day, I pulled that Ace of Hearts, and but I immediately got that fire energy. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, there's a band, a Canadian band called Stars. And they have a song called Your Ex-Lover is Dead. And the very first line that happens in that song is when there's nothing left to burn, you have to set yourself on fire. And it's just a spoken line. And then it goes into the song, which is basically all about a past relationship where they like meet up again and there's just like no connection between them anymore. Like it's like meeting a stranger, even though you've had this entire relationship with them. And so that is basically kind of what this entire, all of my readings seem to lean into was kind of revisiting a past relationship where that's exactly how I feel about it now and just kind of dealing with
Wow.
those emotions. So that's what I did with my like the bibliomancy day, like the last day was I just listened to the song and like took the lyrics and saw what I got out of the tarot cards and I literally just pulled like six cards in a row and it literally was almost like outlining that relationship. It was very strange. But again, like no emotional content. It was very like so accurate, but still very strange in that it was very like flatlined.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the creative practice that you made for that last day. I think that's like that makes me so excited about deck connectors is that people can come up with cool ways to connect with your deck that dig deep. And then, even if it didn't work out for you with the deck, like you still got something out of that practice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool with the song lyrics.
Yeah, it was funny. It was just like that's the very first card that I pulled when I did that deck interview. That's literally what popped into my brain. I was like, okay, well, I can see where this is going to go. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, maybe that's why you had to get rid of the deck, right? You're like, this is just, we're
yeah,
done.
true. Yeah. Yep.
We've done our work with this, and now it's time to move forward.
100%.
So any final thoughts from anyone? Anything else you want to chat about with this deck, or you feel like we're at peace with where we're at?
I will say that what I realized, and I think I have said this before, like when I was doing my deck collection videos and this deck came up, is that I realized it reminds me a lot of the haptic tarot. And I think what I
Yes.
wanted from this deck was for it to be the haptic tarot. And so I actually pulled them out together, like on my, I did like an extra day and just was like kind of laying the cards out together to see what they look like together and like actually decide what if I was going to keep both, but I, realized that I just need the haptic tarot. They looked gorgeous together. That I actually have because that one's staying in my collection. But like it's like it's gorgeous, right? Like there's all of that like dark space. It's mostly I feel like the cup suits that remind me of each other.
Oh yeah, I can totally see it.
But it's that very like, let's actually find a cup. It's very focused in like that one, like Lacrimosas, like
Yeah.
yeah. So they looked gorgeous together. And it was funny. So I actually kind of asked the cards. I was like, okay, so like, do I need to keep both of them or are you going to serve the same purpose? And so I pulled a card from Haptic Tarot and I got the moon card. And you want to guess what card I pulled out of Lacrimosa? The moon card.
uh
No way. The
Yeah.
moon.
So
um,
like clearly you
It's
guys
same,
are,
same.
yeah. So that was
wow.
ultimately my decision to send it away. Oh, here's the moon card. So
Yeah. Well, that's such good confirmation. Like I think we have a similar outlook on not having too much repetitiveness in one category in our collection.
yeah.
And we also have a lot of overlap in like we can be kind of cutthroat about getting rid of the decks too. So I relate.
Yeah. I'm not normally that way. Like I will hang on to decks forever and ever. But sometimes it's like financially motivated too, right? When I'm like, okay, like let's get some decks out and get some money back in the
Yeah,
bank.
to get some new ones.
I've had
Yeah.
like two Kickstarters this month, and so that's gonna be coming out of my account at some point.
What'd you
So
back?
the Shadows We Cast, which I'm really excited about, and the Yukika Tarot. Yeah,
Yeah, we did
Asia
Yukika.
Born cards. Yeah,
And Shadows We Cast,
We did.
I have
Yeah.
the Oracle. What's it called? Shadow.
the Starseeker Oracle.
Yes. And like it's in purgatory permanently. I need to just make a decision about it. I'm like always like, I don't know. So interesting. Do you have that one?
I do, yeah. I don't use my oracles as much. I mostly bought it because I have the Star Seeker and I adore that deck. Like it's probably for sure in my top 10, maybe even in my top five.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's one that I have no interest in.
Yeah, it's definitely not you. It's like those little people.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked
So
this. I
funny.
liked the look of the shadows we cast because it's so zoomed out. I thought it would be a really cool addition to like focus on the bigger picture as opposed to zoomed in.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So I
interesting.
mean, we'll give it a try.
Oh, you know what my final thought about Lacrimosa is that was I don't know. I haven't quite figured out what this means, but I felt like this I went through the deck and pulled out, I was like, how many cards have skulls in them? Because I felt like
Mm.
in my readings, I was getting a lot of communication from the skulls.
How many were there?
I don't remember, but there's a good amount, but it's not like every single card. So I just felt like it was something that in my readings was really like showing up in a very strong way.
Mm.
The skulls.
Yeah, I would be interested to know how many. Did you do your flat lay where you laid all the cards out?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, I don't remember you sending me that. So you should lay
I
them
should
out and
do
then
that.
count the skulls.
I should do that and count the skulls and see. Because there was, I mean, I think there was only one reading. I think maybe in my interview no, there was a skull in the interview. So I think it was the only day that there weren't skulls were the day that I paired with the Eternal Gardens. Every other day I was like, the skulls, they're talking to me. They've got messages.
They're like, we feel the veil thinning for All Hallows Eve.
Yes, totally.
So you know what you need to do if you have a crystal skull, you need to like bring that out and like see what
Yes.
the skull has to tell you.
Yeah, there we go.
Hmm.
Yeah, put that on the
Hmm.
list of things that now I need is crystal skull.
You can just get like there, you can get
I
little
know,
ones,
I do have some little ones,
10
some
bucks.
smaller crystal.
I think for my final thought that I really want to touch on is I love NPC card stock. Like, I know it's just supposed to be like your basic card stock, but it makes me so happy to handle these decks. Like, I love the gilding, I love the backs, and I love the card stock that this is on. And so I've had a lot of fun handling this deck this week, and that was kind of an unexpected thing for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although I don't know, I'm torn about the gilding. Like I don't know that I love it in red. I'm kind
Might be
of
too intense.
it might be. I kind of wish I had it in silver
So
now.
the reason that I went with the silver in the first place, because I was tempted by the red big time, and I don't have any decks at gilded in red, but I thought that the the like outcome of it being the cross on the black background with the silver edge looked like a Bible to me.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And I just thought that was like a cool way to envision the deck. And so that's how I ended up with this one. And I'm glad that I did.
Yeah, I like that. I'll have to I don't know. I do like it in red too, but now I have the Void tarot edged in red, and that to me is just like perfection. And so I just kind of wish this was different.
Yeah, yeah.
Womp womp.
It's okay. All right. Well, Afton, thank you so much for joining us. It has been wonderful following your deck connectors all along. Like, I've been watching every video that you post about them, and I'm just so grateful that you have joined in just like on your own and then here today with us. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for watching. I'm grateful to you guys for coming up with this because I have kind of been struggling with my tarot, not struggling with my tarot practice. I just haven't been finding ways to connect with my tarot decks the last little while. And so this has really brought me back to it, which has been nice. So,
Mm,
yeah.
Great.
awesome. Happy
Yeah.
to hear it.
Sick.
So Erin, we haven't announced what our
You froze again. But you're about to say that. we haven't announced what we're doing for November yet.
Need to chew on it a little bit more. So next video, I guess, will be a surprise.
Well, aren't we doing Persephone?
I don't know. I haven't committed yet. Okay, fine.
I'm so excited to work with that next.
Okay. We'll do that.
Okay, so so for next week we're doing Tarot of Persephone's Garden. I think it just flows so nicely from Lacrimosa right into that, like wrapping
That's
up
true.
the Samhain season, Day of the Dead, everything. I think that it's like a good, like now's the time if we're gonna do it.
Okay. All right, I'm in.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank God. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay. All right.
Let's sign out.
Signing out. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.